Welcome to Bootstrap Businessmen, the podcast devoted to the aspiring entrepreneur on a shoestring budget. Here are your hosts, #1 best-selling fitness author Dale L. Roberts and the Midwest's best, Kevin S. Allen.
Well, very good. After much headaches and hassles and technology issues, man, I can't be more jacked about my next guest. I would like to say she's definitely a very good close friend and somebody I've learned a lot from. She comes from Networking 360, and I'm telling you, she brings not just a little bit of information on networking. She brings an authority and credibility on networking, and I do want to welcome Melina Shah to the show. Melina, how are you feeling now that you finally got connected to us?
Oh, I feel like I can breathe. What a crazy technology can be so crazy at times.
It can be,
but I'm so happy to be here.
Excellent. We're really excited, and I can't tell you enough. We were doing a pre-show. Typically, we do an after show, so we'll interview the special guest, and then Kevin and I will talk about it, afterwards. But we had to kind of talk a little bit about before, so we only could speculate what you'd be able to bring to the table. But hopefully, what I'd like to do is give a little bit of story and a background how you and I know each other. You and I go back a few years now because we met in the North Phoenix Chamber of Commerce, and you were the head of the philanthropy committee. So you want to hear truthfully the story that brought me to those networking meetings?
Yes.
It was because I wanted to get out of work.
You know what? I don't blame you.
But it was cool because I got out and I got to meet people. So that's why you never heard me like banging my business over people's heads, because I came into those networking meetings because I was like, I'm gonna go meet people and eat food.
Yeah, drink some wine, laugh, talk.
Yeah, and so that's how you and I had met each other. And you and Kelly have met up on a number of occasions. I think you even went out hiking with each other at one point, and you've just been magnificent. So rather than me bloviate, I want you to share a little bit about you. Tell us your background.
Sure. So I grew up in New Jersey, all the way on the East Coast. I've always had an active lifestyle. I played pretty much every sport, from soccer, jazz, ballet, swimming, you name it. And, I've always had my hands in so many different things with Girl Scouts, different clubs, organizations. I'm an only child, so I was always, front and center. I always had the spotlight. But as I grew up, I never really found my passion. I never really knew what I enjoyed. And I went into Rutgers University, into the nursing school. Okay. And I started off in the College of Nursing. Got to my clinicals and did not enjoy being in a hospital setting. It wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't really feel like it was what I want to do day in, day out. So from there, I made a big transition. I switched over into the business school. I started off with a management degree, and I realized that was so easy. So then I did marketing. That was so easy. And then I got my third degree, which was supply chain management. Supply chain management is what really made me understand how a business functions, how it runs, what drives a business to be successful, and what also drives a business to also fail. There's so many different, scenarios and strategies that you have to put in place. So from there, I started working for Martha Stewart. I helped in their supply chain management structure. And then from there, I moved to Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, I was a State Farm insurance agent. Then I did a couple other things in between, and then I moved out to Arizona. Moving out here in Arizona, I've had countless of jobs. And, it's not something I'm ashamed of, but being in different roles, I've learned so much about different businesses and working with different people and seeing different programs and different software that they use. And I've learned so much through all these jobs that I've been able to set my feet in. And I've realized, what truly does work, what doesn't work, and how people should really focus their time during the day. And essentially networking. It's not about what you know. It's all about who you know. And that is what I really, really hit on every day. The more people you know, the more friendships you develop, the stronger your business will be and the stronger you'll be. Networking can either make you or it can break you. You have to go in it with an open mind, a good attitude, and a willing to talk to everybody, because you got to be able to change your body language and change your perception and really open up and just, dialogue. Talk about everything and anything.
This is awesome, and I learned
Is
this
that too
from
much?
you. No,
No.
that's great.
Keep going.
Yeah, we're really enjoying this, and hopefully we can kind of dissect a little bit of this, because I know that for me, I learned a lot from you. If you didn't realize it, the number of times that you and I were around each other, sometimes I watched how social you were, and see, I'm an extrovert. I definitely am, but when it comes to some of those networking type meetings, I'm a little bit more reserved, and I hold back a bit because I'm kind of like, okay, I'm waiting, and it's a certain level of, I guess, cynicism on my part, because I'm waiting for that direct salesperson to come hammer me over the head or hear about my business and that type of thing. That's why I kind of naturally gravitated to people like you or Mark Stafford, because you guys were just like, hey,
I love
what's
Mark.
up? Oh, isn't Mark awesome? I need to get in touch with
I
that guy.
haven't talked to him in so long, but he's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. But so at any rate, before I start dominating things, I know Kevin's got some questions loaded up, and he's ready to fire them off.
Yay! Awesome. Let's go.
Hey, nothing like being put on the spot. Not a big deal. Not a big deal, Dale. No, honestly, one question I have and stuff, and this is going to be like real basic. Explain to our listeners how to truly, I guess, conduct yourself at a networking, say, function like a Chamber of Commerce meeting.
Sure. So depending on what meeting, you could be a member or you could be a guest. But ideally, everyone always says, walk in the room with an open mind. That is so ideal. But the other thing a lot of people that I love to, coach and tell people is walk in and just ask people about them. Ask them how they're doing. How do they hear about the event? Are they a member? Are they not a member? What do they like about the event? What do they do? And when you ask somebody what it is they do, ask them questions and see where their strengths are and where their weaknesses are. And always offer different types of advice. So what you really want to do is key in on each person in the room and make it about the people in the room. It should never be about yourself.
Interesting. Okay, I like that. So if you don't make it about yourself, how do people learn about your business then?
They will ask you. They will ask you, and you won't waste your time with the people that are only there to network, to throw their cards around, or there just to eat the food, like Dale was saying, or drink the wine, which is awesome. When I love walking to an event and you see people in the corner room just eating. It's not what networking is at all.
No.
But to really answer your question, yes, you're there to really get your name out, to get your brand out, to talk about your products or services. But the real time to talk about your products and service is around the fourth impression you make with somebody. And there's a lot of research that's been done, and they always say the fourth time, not the third time, not the second, not the first, the fourth time. When you create, it's like, I put it in this way. It's like, that phrase, you have to knock on a door for doors to open?
Yeah.
So every time you're walking to a room and you're seeing somebody, it's kind of like that person's a door. A brand new door, you're knocking on it, and you're creating conversation. But the more you knock, the more you're entering the room, the more you're getting comfortable, the more you're building that open space, that open relationship. So you really have to form that friendship to a point to where now they want to sit down with you. They want you to go to their networking event, or they might be having a birthday party and they want you to come with your spouse or your friend. that right there is when you have such a good relationship or business relationship to where they're going to refer you to their friends. They're going to refer you to their clients. And that's the ideal relationship.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great information because it's so funny. Like I said, I learned a lot of this stuff indirectly from you. You never really ever said, Dale, do this. But if for anybody that's new to, say, networking, you've given some good first steps. How does an introduction work? I know it seems kind of rudimentary to probably you, but do I go up and say, hi, I'm Dale Roberts from such and such company, or do I just make a general introduction? How do you do that?
Hi, my name is Melina. This is my first time here at this event. How did you hear about it? What's your name? The more low-key you are, the more or less scary you become. And scary, I don't mean like, hi, I'm Melina, I have to know who you are. I just mean like you're very personable and you're very easy for that person to keep talking to you. But if you're like, I'm Melina and I work for Cox Business and I want to come to your house and see what you use and I want to hook Cox up in your house, it's very standoffish. So people tend to divert away from you and they're on to the next person. But your goal in a networking setting is to just be low-key, to be personable. Hey, I just want to get to know you. Let's talk. And they're going to keep in tune with you.
Okay. I love that. I'm actually going to take us on a little bit of a direction here. I want to take a step back. What made you decide that networking was a passion?
I love this question. My first job out here was with a company called Serpro, and my job title was the marketing representative. And they introduced me to the North Phoenix Chamber of Commerce. At first, I was like, the chamber? Like, I'm thinking of like four dark walls, a chamber. Like, I've never heard of a Chamber of Commerce, ever.
Yes.
And I went to college. I went to Rutgers. I don't even know what a Chamber of Commerce was. But I went into their luncheon. It was a luncheon that I went to. And I started talking to people. And before I knew it, I was attending all these different networking events. I was attending all the Chamber's networking events. And it just, when something happens and it develops right in front of your own eyes and you don't really have to work at it, it just naturally happens, you have to, look back and be like, wow, I love what I'm doing. And this all just it all just flowed together. It wasn't like I had to work so hard and I had to stay up all these nights and I had to like push myself in front of people. It was just like a natural thing. And before I knew it, I was director of events for the chamber, and I was putting all their events together, and I was the co-chair of the philanthropy committee, and I was involved in the membership, and it was just, everything just happened so fast that, when you have a passion and it's something you enjoy, that's how it's supposed to happen.
Sure. So you basically just got kind of lost in time, just went by, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I was
like, I know too many people. Like, how did this all happen? I love it.
Nice. So from that, I mean, obviously, working for other people, though, you've kind of channeled that into your own business, though. Am I correct?
Yes, Networking 360.
Okay. Dale. Dale and I were actually just talking about this on our pre-show, about how you don't go in like the It Works raps and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you could go with the It Works raps, but there's a tact.
there's a tact for it. Sure.
I can say a lot right now.
Feel free.
Go on.
But honestly, that's such a cool thing that you said it just developed before your eyes, and before you knew it, you were just doing all of this. How do you keep that same excitement, or is it just, you just feel this inside?
When I leave a networking event, I always feel like I'm on cloud 9, and I get that feeling because, A, I love walking into a room and seeing people I know. And that's because I've been networking for so long, but I don't just show up at one networking event and then stop. It's a continuous. I'm always showing up. I'm always supporting other people's events. I'm always talking to everybody. But, and to add on to that, I think ideally I love just having people come up to me and, interacting with me, asking me conversations. Hey, Melina, I want to run this by you. Or having them send me emails. I want to do this. How should I do it? Or just people really actually take my thoughts and, my perception seriously. And for me, that's so important. And that's what truly developed Networking 360. I saw so many people coming up to me at networking events. How do you hear about all these events? Or how do you know so many people? Or how did you get into this? And, it's quite simple. It's simple steps.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to the fact. I swear, you were at every event. I would show up. I'd be like, "You're here too?"
I was.
There would be some stuff that I wouldn't even think of. It was networking per se. I would show up and I'd be like, "Wait, is that Melina?" You'd be in with
How
your
did
dog.
she get here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't remember. There was one time. Oh gosh, it was somewhere over off of North Phoenix, somewhere in 101. It wasn't even part of like a chamber of commerce. It was just like some other
Brian
networking
Newman,
thing.
Business
Yes.
101 Referral Network. Yes.
Yeah, you showed up and like I was like, I just see this dog. I was like, oh, cute dog. I started petting. I was like, oh, it's Melina. Which Melina wasn't the dog. For those that are listening, it was her dog that was with her. Little cute French dog.
She would come out to me here and there.
Yeah. So
yes, that's right.
Yeah, you're just very personable, and I think there's a certain charisma about you. It's not me trying to fluff your ego or anything else like that. There is something that draws people to you, and I think it's the fact that you create a certain sense of intrigue, and the fact that you always ask questions. I noticed that about you. I didn't know what you ever did when I first was introduced to you was at a philanthropy committee meeting, and I sat down, and you were introduced along with Patrick. And which Patrick, what a good guy. But
Yes.
the two of you stood up, and I mean seriously, commanded my attention immediately. I was interested. I was intrigued. How does a person develop themselves into that? Is that a skill set, or is that something that you're just born with?
It's both. A lot of people are born being an introvert, very shy, very quiet, but skill per se, but you have to surround yourself with the right people. If you surround yourself with high energy, lots of positivity, all my friends are very positive. And, if you have friends that support you and, encourage you, like, yeah, Melina, keep doing it. Like, just start your own business. That right there brings you to a whole new level in your life. And I really honestly feel the people that are in my life right now have built me higher and higher and higher and higher. And I keep those people very close to me. So no matter where I am networking, I will always remember those people, and I will always make sure I gravitate towards those people. And they're a phone call away. So if ever I'm down or there's something negative crossing my mind, it's, you just reach out to them. And I feel like having that structure in your life is what will get you to being outgoing, to being positive, to have you just walking up to everybody. Certain networking events, when I first started networking, I would always stick around the same people. And those people introduced me to other people, introduced me to more and more people. And that's when I was able to walk an event and I would know everybody. It takes time. It doesn't happen right away, but just keep yourself around positive, high energy people.
That's excellent. That's really, really good advice. And it's so hard, though. Let's say, for instance, a person is around a lot of negativity. How do they get themselves away from that? And how do they find those positive elements?
Really, you have to study people. And what I mean by that is not so much watch their every move, but see what people are doing. get involved in committees, get involved in groups. And eventually, the more you get yourself out there, the more you're going to gravitate to the right, I guess you're going to meet more people, so you're going to see different energies. I always say everybody can, I guess, can choose their friends. So when you walk into a room, go to different groups. You don't always have to go to the same people. I guess the best way, if you're around negative people, I guess the best advice I can say is just lean on new people, create new friendships, and just get involved into other groups. There's tons of positive people out there.
Absolutely. So let's say I'm just brand new to this. Where do I start? How do I find good opportunities to network with people? Because obviously I don't want to just randomly walk into a mall and start saying, hey, what's up? I'm Dale.
Why not?
They're probably going to be like, what a weirdo.
Don't make it weird, Dale.
I love doing that, though.
You do?
I love walking to, you know what's so funny? Just last week, I went to the Chandler Chamber of Commerce. Didn't know anyone. And I met people, and then ASBA had their event last night, and I'm walking around ASBA's event. It's a big trade show. And then I see these few business ladies, and they're like, hey, I know you. I'm like, yeah, I met you at the Chandler Chamber. So, I mean, it's so important to really go to different events. You know, a great way is there's so many Chamber of Commerce out here.
Yeah.
Go to all of them. Go see what their events are like. Go check out the people. A lot of them have the rule you can go 2 or 3 times before you have to join. But just go to each chamber twice. Meet the people. Go to their mixers. Go to their luncheons. Meet up. It's a great source of seeing all these different events that are out there. And a lot of times they're fun events. Everything from hiking to wine tasting. Female groups. You know, females have babies. They have groups for, you know, a baby roundtable discussion. So it's a great way to get out there. Right now, Networking 360, I am building a huge platform that ties in the entire valley. Everything from real estate to expos to, you know, your wine tasting events, all your nonprofit events. Everything that happens here in the valley, which is, it's overwhelming. But there's so much happening that there's always something to be at. Always.
Yeah, there's never seems to be a lack of things to do here in the valley. So sometimes it's like, which one do I choose first?
Exactly. Just when you start going out there, you'll start, you know, finding your favorite groups. You'll start finding, you know, groups where you're making the most contacts. When I first started off at the North Phoenix Chamber, it was a ripple effect. You know, one person would have an event, I would go, and then there's a LaTip group, and I would be going to LaTip groups, and then your B&Is, and it all just comes at you at once.
Yeah, it is really amazing. So Networking 360, you started to kind of touch just a little bit on it. What inspired you to start Networking 360, and of course, what is the exact business model that you have with this?
So what inspired me was I was seeing so many things being done wrong, or not so much wrong, but backwards. And when you go out and network, you hand out a business card. A lot of times people are going to go on your website. A lot of websites were broken. Their websites weren't functioning properly. Or other websites didn't have good content. Then on top of that, when you go and network, you want to follow up. You want to send emails. I can't tell you how many times I'll hand out my card at maybe 5, 6 events, and I'll never get one email.
Wow.
Yeah.
People don't follow up. And I say that, and I always send out emails, and now I'm making it more of a habit where I take a picture of their business card, and I put it into my CRM, and it automatically sends an email out. But they're missing so many opportunities. And I love being able to coach people and necessarily sitting down with a business owner, looking at what they're doing, what they're using, what events are they going to, and seeing all the ROIs. Is your website really drawing in people? Are you obtaining their information right when they hit your website? Because you should be. They're hitting your website for a reason. Ask them for their first name, their email, for, a free worksheet. Now, at the same time, what is their social media doing for them? Are they posting at the right times? Are they posting good content? And I look at everything. What events are they putting on? What networking events are they going to? How are they connecting with people? How are they responding to their business cards when they come home after the event? And every little step a business owner takes is so critical. It's so important that you're using every step to the best performance. So a lot of times when I sit down with business owners, I see so much time wasted. I see them writing down all these things when there's Dropbox and when there's Evernote. There's systems out there that make your life so much easier, but they'll do things backwards. And I don't know if a lot of business owners wear so many hats. And I always say, when you wear so many hats, you tune a lot of things out and you get inundated with what's in front of you. You have to be able to think outside the box, see what's out there, put those strategies in place. And that's really going to help make your business run a lot faster and smoother.
Yes.
Wow. Absolutely. I have to ask you one question. Do you like to play chess?
No.
Really?
No, I don't.
Wow.
It's funny because my answer is I don't have the time, but that's probably the worst sentence in the world because everybody has the time. What's so funny? I don't like chess because there's not a lot of communication.
Right.
It's I don't know.
Yeah, I was just thinking because of the moves. When you're talking about a business owner and helping them out and making sure that every step is calculated, really.
Oh, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, so I was like, either you're really good at chess or checkers, one or the other. I was just, I guess, assuming there, but.
No, it's a great analogy, but you're right. It is every move a person's making, but it's also, it is a lot of your thinking process. You have to think about every step you take. You have to think about every event you're going to. You have to think about every post you're putting up. And yeah, you hit it right on the target. It's a great example.
Yeah, it's amazing how many missteps I see when it comes to social media, and especially in the business of self-publishing that I've been, immersed in for so long. You and I haven't connected in a long time.
Oh, and you're doing phenomenal. Props to you, Dale. I see all your success, and I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, we got to get together for coffee sometime soon, but we'll talk about that when we get disconnected. But you brought up a really good one, and you were like, as soon as you said it, you were like, oh, dang it, I said that to these guys because they're going to call me on it. But,
what was it?
You brought up a good point of sometimes people say, they use the excuse, I don't have the time. So let's apply that to networking. Let's say, I don't have the time.
Oh, that's crap. Every business, and I said it earlier, networking, you can make it so you can either make yourself or you can break yourself. And what I mean by that is simply this. If you don't have the time to network, you're actually breaking yourself. You're hurting your business. Mm-hmm. To make the time to network, it's every person you meet has a value, has some leverage to them to help you out. And that's why when you walk into a networking event, maybe it's one event a week. Start small. Maybe it's one event a day. Whatever you make it, start walking into at least one event a week and take each person and study them carefully. Do they have an event that you can team up with? Do they have a service or product that you can introduce to your clients? Do they have, and I tell everybody this, find one key factor about each person and build upon that. And time is the biggest issue when it comes to business owners, because we have a million things going on. But if you use the time wisely, it will actually help you be more successful.
Absolutely. I can't agree with you more. And I think that there was a sticking point for my own career here as a self-publisher. And that's when I realized I actually have to get out from underneath the rock and actually talk to some other people. And that's when I noticed my own business exploded. So I've got a memory issue. It's just. But you remember everybody's name. I swear it was like after the first meeting, obviously a name like Dale is pretty unforgettable. But I mean, you remember mine really well. But I've got an issue with memory sometimes. Now I've got a new trick that I do, but I'm not going to share my trick. I want to hear how is it that you can help people retain names and, of course, associating them with their particular businesses. That way you can reconnect with them on future meetups.
Oh, you had to ask me a tricky question. So, for me, it's all about, I stick names with businesses. So here, I have a card right in front of me. So I met Rick Murray last night. He's with ASBA. He's a CEO. What I do to remember names is I make sure I say their name over and over again. And that's the only way. It either sticks with me or it doesn't. But I'm like, Rick, it was so nice meeting you. Hey, Rick, let me ask you something. Rick, how did you hear about this event? Rick, can we take a photo? Can we take a selfie? And then I'll take a selfie and then I'll tag him. And it's just, just say the name as much as you can. And the funny thing is, people love that. They're like, oh, wow, that person's saying my name. Like, she's awesome. Like, thank you for calling me by my name. It makes you sound more professional. It makes you sound like you're actually interested in them. And it gives you more of, that character of trust.
Yes, and I can't agree with you more. And that's you said exactly what I do. I literally, and the funny thing is, I will, like, if the person's talking or they're in the middle of talking or doing a presentation, I'll sit there and I'll stare at them and I'll go, in this instance with Rick, I'd be like, Rick.
Rick, Dale.
I'll say it repeatedly over and over in my head, and then I'll say, okay, Rick does this, Rick does this, Rick does this, and I'll keep repeating it. And 9 times out of 10 I can remember it, but let's say I get to another meeting, I recognize a face, but I can't remember their name. How do I approach that person without completely embarrassing myself?
One of my tricks is, I loved meeting you at the last event, and I literally will go up to them and I'll change the topic to be like I'll remember their face, and I'm so good with that. But what I do is I'll go up to them and be like, Julie, it's so great to see you again, and I'll start talking to them, and I will wait for somebody to say, Rick, like, good to see you here, and I'll be like, and then I'll go back and be like, so Rick, what's new? Anything happening?
That is
and I will literally wait. But you have to be able to change your persona, and you have to be able to play it like a game. Like, you talk to them in a regular conversation, but then you'll wait for somebody to say their name.
Wow, that's
I like that. I'm gonna have to remember that. I am going to have to remember that for sure, because all I do, anytime that happens to me, and it happens quite a bit, I'll be like, hey, can I get your business can I get a few business cards? I want to pass them out for you.
Over. That's a good one. That's a great one. And then you go home and you have like 20 of their cards. It's like in your car, it's in your dryer.
Oh my God.
So funny.
Big old stack of cards. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've left networking meetings and I'll stare at a card. I love cards like this. So I've got my business card and it's got the picture of my face so people don't forget.
Yes.
I love these type of cards because I can sit there and study at it. But by the time I go into the next meeting, I'm like, what's up? How's it going, Dale? I went and checked out your website. It was really cool. I should get to emailing you because Melina Shah said I probably should do that after every networking meeting.
My God. Absolutely.
You bring up a really great point, and I know when I was an activities director, typically we would strike that common ground. It was always funny because people would come up and they would introduce themselves and their business like 9 times out of 10. It was like, hi, I'm so and so from something photography, blah blah blah. Yeah, and I would sit down, I would just kind of talk to them, and like I said, it was a way for me to get out of the work, and I didn't want to be completely awkward because I'm an extrovert, so I'll just start asking somebody about themselves. It's like, I just start talking and such, and eventually they come back to, well, what is it that you do? And it was always great because, it was easy to describe my business. I play with seniors all day long. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I get paid to play with seniors. That's what I got to do for a living. That's insane. I did it for nearly 20 years, for crying out loud. And I'm able to share that, and it was so funny because they go,
they're lucky to have you.
Yeah, well, here's the really cool thing was I was always looking for volunteers, so instantly they go, I always been wanting to volunteer. So this was great when they would hand me their business card. I was kind of like what you were doing, but I didn't think of it from a networking standpoint. I was like, they want to volunteer. I'm going to email them. So in some instances like that, there's going to probably be some people, they're going to these networking meetings, they're getting the cards, and so the next good action to take is going to be sending an email. How do I address them? Do I just say, hey, it was nice to meet you, or hey, I want to sell you some stuff?
No.
Not the latter.
Get some raps.
Kevin, would you... Kevin's going to send me an email after this. Hey, it was great to do a video Google chat with you. Mm-hmm. No, absolutely not. What you want to do is you want to always state where you met this person. A lot of people, you're meeting so many different people. So when you send out a follow-up email, it's just, hey, good morning, good afternoon. It should always be the next day. I had a great time meeting you at the ASBA event last evening. There was a lot of great folks, and I remember it's so sad because for me, everybody has to develop a system. So for me last night, I don't know if you can see it, but I was at the ASBA event, and then these are people that I talked to, and I would write notes of what I need to do. So it'd be like, send an email to remind him of a meeting, working with ASBA, building industry. So when I get home, I literally send them a complete personalized email going over what we talked about. I know that a lot of people don't do that, or they have no interest of doing that, but you have to literally send an email just thanking them for their time, for talking with you. You have to say where you met them. And then, say, what, next week I'm going to be attending such and such event. It would be great to see you there. And just pick out an event that you're interested in going to, so that way you can keep building those relationships with those people. You'll never know who shows up. You're not begging them to show up, but you're giving them an invitation to connect again. So it should be no more than, 6 sentences. You don't want a huge paragraph. Just very simple, sweet, and straight to the point.
You're killing me here, Melina. I literally write for a living. Sometimes I gotta really do abbreviate my stuff. And I'm a mentor in self-publishing. Told me a long time ago because I was doing email marketing, and he's just like, bro, your emails are way too long.
I can talk for hours, and sometimes I have to realize I'm going way off topic. But yeah, just with writing, they say that you'll get more. You can explain a lot more in shorter sentences, or you can get your point out a lot quicker in just 2 or 3 sentences than a whole paragraph.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's also honoring their time when you're sending out an email that's got brevity to it.
Absolutely.
Very, very good. Man, I'm telling you what, hopefully some people are taking some notes. This is reminding me so much of last week when we were interviewing Diwan, because I'm getting a lot of information. This is great that we're getting connected like this. So I've got something, This is something that you helped me on. And I really have to say, there's many factors to my success. And being around you, you rubbed off on me. You ready for this? You remember back, oh gosh, when I first got out of the assisted living communities and I started doing self-publishing. And I think we showed up at like a networking type meeting. There was a handful of people there, and I was dead tired. I think I had 3 hours of sleep because I did like one of those all-nighters. But
Was this in North Phoenix?
It probably was right on Paradise Valley. Well, in any event, you were doing, it was like the meetup was pretty much based on doing like a to-do list. And you challenged everybody to do the to-do list. Well, then we were supposed to meet up, I think, like the following Friday or something like that. And we did, and we just ended up being you, Kelly, and I. And we sat down, and I had actually started doing a task list, and I had like a whole deck of like old business cards I couldn't use anymore, so I was writing all my stuff on there. Well, guess what? I carry a to-do list on this. It literally is like my Bible. I know this is off networking altogether, but it's definitely something great for business development. But I want you to share exactly, some of the stuff that you shared in the meeting, what the importance of to-do lists, tasks, goals, and how it can really help somebody grow. Because I'm going to tell you this, you are hugely responsible for getting me to where I was focused. And now I don't go anywhere without it. I have this app on here called Tasks, and it literally does daily tasks.
Oh, yeah, I love hearing that. You know what it was? It was the Valley Business Breakfast Connection, the Valley Business Connection.
Yes, you took over the reins for somebody. And
Kelly and Lazar used to do it. And, you and Kelly always showed up. But every Friday, I would talk about like a different strategy or a different tool. But so for the to-do list, and I find that to be so important because a to-do list isn't for big projects. It's really just, setting a pace for yourself. So every night is when, and I believe I told you and Kelly this, every night before you go to bed is when you develop your to-do list for the next day. And by doing that, you're not waking up all stressed out. You're waking up knowing what you have to focus on. So it's a sense of relaxation, and it's a sense of, focus. You can focus on what needs to be done, and you get that done in the morning. So in the afternoon is when you start to build on everything else. A to-do list for me is so critical. On a phone is probably the best bet. I know pen and paper are really not so. It's not what everyone carries around. Everybody has a cell phone. So there's Evernote. There's that to-do list, the task list. There's so many apps for you to really find your favorite app every night before bed. Just put together things that you have to get done in the morning and focus on that right when you wake up. It really takes a lot of stress out of your life when you have just a list to focus on. I'm not sure if that totally answers it, but I do remember going over that.
Yeah, it really was tremendous. I never had the chance to tell you how much it really actually has personally affected me, and got it because before I was flying blindly. I was literally just going, and I would write until I got tired, and I would just be like, where'd my day go? And I didn't accomplish anything. But now I've got it all cut out in front of me, and I'm able to look at it before I go to bed, make sure everything is all tied up. And then when I get up in the morning, that's literally the first thing I'll look at, is I'll look at my list, because that way I can kind of visualize where I'm going to be going next, because that's exactly what gets me to where I can niche out my time. And something this ties all back into I don't have the time. And it's always funny because I always tell people, well, you got the time. You got the same 24 hours a day that some uber successful person like a Mark Cuban or a Bill Gates, you got the same time. Don't tell me that you don't have it. It's just you don't have the same priority level on some of the things that they have.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, please do.
What it really comes down to is organization. If you walk into someone's office and you see sticky notes everywhere, you're so stressful. You're not even the business owner. You're like, oh my God, I cannot do business with you. Like, this is really crazy. But now if you have a nice list in your phone, you don't look like you're all over the place. You don't look like a psychotic person. You look like a normal business owner. So it's really about your clean space and, keeping things very organized. And it's, the different programs, apps that are out there that can really help you. So I think for me, it's really simplicity, a simple to-do list rather than have paper and Post-it notes and all this stuff all over the place.
Yeah, it really became a lot easier when I started doing the app because I was using like these, like I said, old business cards, and then I started having stacks like around the house, and I eventually
Yeah.
I gave up. I was like, okay, I have to
And
use
then you
something.
buy one like 2 months ago, and you're like, oh shoot, I still haven't done this. Oh no.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I gotta do this now.
Or the Post-it note on top of the other Post-it note reminding you to look. Yeah.
You're like, oh shoot, I hid this for myself.
That's so
It's
funny.
crazy.
I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one that went through that because I would literally find like a card with like all these like 5 or 10 tasks or something like that, and it would be
Yeah.
stuck like in the cushions or something like that, or it'd fall in my car. I'm like, oh man, I missed that. And of course, I start to get that sense of like neuroticism where I'm like, oh gosh, the word's coming to the end. But
You know what's so I use literally a clipboard because I literally write so much that I want everything in one place, and then I'll put it on my Evernote account. So like throughout the day, because I write much faster than I can literally type, and sometimes you don't always want your face in the phone. So if you're writing at different meetings, and then always take that information and put it right back into your to-do list or your Evernote account.
Yes.
I've heard of Evernote. I know my mentor Jason actually had wrote a book on Evernote at one point, but I still get to read it. I'm sorry, Jason, if you're watching this.
No, great application. With your clipboard, I'm glad to see I'm not the only one that uses a clipboard. So, yeah.
I gotta get a new one. It's so like outdated.
I end up breaking like 3 or 4 of those a year.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned about a CRM. What CRM program are you using besides Evernote, or is that?
Oh no, I would die without my CRM. Literally, I use Soho.
Okay.
And it's not as big as Infusionsoft or other ones out there, Salesforce. Soho is very detailed and very organized. I can take a picture of a card. I can create different groups. So every event I go to, I can create a group, and then I can customize emails. Hi, it was so great meeting you at the Business Loan Pro Network. And I'll put in the date, I'll put in the information, and then right after the event, this is like one big secret that I never share with anyone, but right after the event is where I'll sit in my car, and for literally 30 minutes, it's just me in my car, windows up, no sound, no one's bothering me, and I will literally transport every card. I just take a picture of it and put it right into my CRM, and I'll put it into the right group. And you create email marketing campaigns. You can literally, I'm a big note taker because I have so much going on and there's so much to do that things slide out of my brain so quick. But I literally will send a follow-up email as a task. And then after I do that, when I send the email, I'll go back to that person, open up the task, I'll checkbox it and say, email sent, waiting for reply. When I get the reply, I'll go back in there. So that CRM tool is literally like my assistant.
Sure.
It does everything I need it to do.
So and this is just a personal question. Would you recommend that over Salesforce? Because honestly, Salesforce, it's like one of those things you just want to throw it out the window sometimes.
It's a dinosaur.
Yes.
It makes you so mad.
So Soho, okay. I use a little app on my phone when I take business cards because that's my life, business cards.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called Cam
Card.
Yes.
Yes, I used to use that as well.
Now, can that integrate into Soho?
Soho is like its own little zoo. So Soho CRM has its own specialized cam card picture taker Then it has its own email database. Then it has its own contact list. It has like its own calendar. So if you want it, you can literally make a meeting off somebody in your CRM, and it will just automatically integrate into that calendar. And that calendar will integrate with your iCalendar.
I think you just changed my life.
She does that.
No, but let me give you a heads up. So you really have to take the time to learn it, to research it. But once you get the hang of it, you'll never look at anything again. It has every feature a business owner needs, but you have to be able to play with it for a while and to learn it. Learn every button, learn what every little thing does. Because it pretty much, you can create a project and have the CRM delegate it for you. The CRM will alert you when you have to do something.
Wow. Okay. But I don't have time to do that.
Listen to this guy.
Well, so you and tons of other people, but hey, you do have time. We all have time. And this is the time that you put into this and the time that you invest. It will literally be a huge ROI. You'll see a big return on this investment. And I always say the more time you put into something, the bigger your ROI is.
Sure. No, actually, I'm very glad that I remembered to ask you that question, because I use Salesforce and it is antiquated. So Soho. Okay, no, you did. You just changed my life. If I can get rid of CamCard and Salesforce and have one, beautiful situation. So thank you for that.
Yeah, try it out. Then go to YouTube, watch a lot of videos. It'll all make sense.
Man, this sounds familiar, Dale.
I wonder where. All right, so it's so funny. You know, we brought up the whole to-do list and such. Man, I haven't. I'm glad the two of you brought this all up because honestly, I didn't know about it at all. I have these stacks of cards, and I would love to just get rid of them and have it stored somewhere else. That's going to be a lot more safe than on my desk. So there was a reason why I was talking to you before about doing to-do lists and everything else like that, because I was going to transition to something, and you're going to probably like, uh-oh, where's Dale going with this? You had a very large binder, and this was before Networking 360 started. It was just kind of like a thought. You're like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And we started talking about you actually producing that as a book. What's ever come of that?
Remind me more about the binder.
Yeah, you had this really thick white binder, and it was pretty much all like the layout for your plans for Networking 360. Yeah, it was before I think you had even called it that. But you had almost like a coaching plan.
I still have it.
Oh, there we go. See,
I see where Dale's going.
Yes. This is why it pays to be organized. No, I still have it. So this is a binder, and then if you open up to the first page, it literally breaks down like all my ideas. Does this look familiar, Dale?
It looks very familiar. Yes.
Yeah, I always say, as a business owner, you always have all these creative ideas, and you always want to, make them come to life, but everything from networking coach to business marketing tools to college level networking, virtual networking schedule, philanthropy committee, press release and events, the Networking 360 newsroom, the virtual business card, the networking articles, the tip of the day, the mobile app, Zoom, the website. Literally, I have to create tabs for all this stuff because every day I'll go back and I'll add things. And it's overwhelming at times, but to clear your head, you have to write them. You have to write your ideas out on paper. You can't keep them stored in your memory. It's literally, you'll drive yourself crazy.
So what are you going to do with that ultimately? Because it seems like you're sitting on a gold mine full of information. I bet you that someone would probably, stab somebody in front of their mother in order to get that, because I bet you've got something that can really open up so much for a person's life. So, obviously I'll get to the business end of Networking 360 because I definitely want to double back around so we can share that with some of our viewers. But
Sure.
do you think you'll ever publish that? Don't tell me what you think I want to hear.
You know what? I think in time, when I cross that level of, true success, where I feel like I've reached that peak of the mountain, I've reached the top. I think what I'll do is I will come out with not necessarily a book, but you can be an entrepreneur. And all it takes is strategies and ideas. And these are different ways of laying out your ideas. These are different goals you can set for yourself. No, I don't think I would ever publish something like this, but it could easily be a motivational tool for a college student or someone who is stuck in a full-time job that wants to start their own business, but they don't have someone there pushing them to go and do it.
I'm kind of curious when your coaching program is going to be out.
It's so right now on my website I have something called the N360 assessment. It stands for Networking 360. And that right there is pretty much what I like to say. It's a strategy. That's when I'll sit down with a business owner and I literally tackle everything that they're doing. And what I tell a business owner, bring your cell phone, bring your laptop, bring your worksheets, bring your papers, bring everything to the table. Because within this hour, I will literally study everything that you're doing. And it sounds crazy because I'm so young and how do I know what's right and what's wrong? It's literally, my generation literally can make things, we know how to literally cut time in half. We move so fast. And from all the different things that I've seen at different businesses, I know exactly, and I love guiding people in the best direction. So I'll develop a 10 to 20 page report on everything that you're going to be targeting. And then I will literally explain what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. Then underneath it, I'll list the steps. So let's say someone doesn't have a CRM database and they have business cards everywhere. That to me is chaos. That's a big system that we need to fix. If someone's social media is not grabbing, they're not getting likes, their page is not getting any traction, that's a problem because it's so easy for you to get likes and to get people to go on your page. Let's create a video episode series. Let's get you out in front of camera, get you out in front of people. So there's so many different ways, and I'm very creative when it comes to that area, and I love helping entrepreneurs, business owners think outside the box. Get them on a different planet for about an hour. It's pretty much what it feels like.
What a beautiful, beautiful segue, just to talk about your business and such, and it just makes me so excited. Like literally, where's the next meeting? I'm like ready to flip the table. So, all right, so we're getting down to the end of the hour. Believe it or not, it went so freaking fast, and that's always great. So, how do people get in touch with you, and what can we anticipate from you in the near future?
So, in the near future, I am putting together a big networking platform. And I will be working with a lot of Chamber of Commerce around the Valley. I'll be working with a lot of the networking groups. And the calendar, like I said earlier, it will consist of not all networking events, but everything real estate-wise, everything for every industry. And I will also be working with, I'll literally have a project management session. So if somebody has all these steps that they want to be put into place from the Networking 360 assessment, and they don't really have all the time, and they don't really know exactly what to do, and they're too busy, they can literally hire me as their project manager, and I've created so many strategic partnerships. So I have a website design company, which is Thomas Evans with Get Found Enterprise. If someone needs business cards, needs brochures, needs graphics done, Trish Dill, Desert Signs. And I have so many people that I know exactly where to turn to get the job done. So the business owner, they don't have to waste time on researching and calling around and asking for quotes and wasting their time. They literally can come to me for everything. It's like their one-stop shop. So on my website, which is www.networking, the hyphen, which is a little minus sign, 360.com, they can go on there and they'll see under services. It starts with the 1 hour consultation. Then from the consultation, which is where we brainstorm ideas, it develops into the N360 assessment. That's where I put together the entire 10 to 20 page report that will break everything down that a kindergartner can follow. It's super, super explanatory, very easy to follow. And then from there, it's a project management. So if they really don't have the time and they get overwhelmed with everything in there, they can literally throw it over to me and I'll make sure it gets done. And, you know, I will be creating a monthly membership that people can join. And that membership will literally get them exposure to all the events happening in Tire Valley, and also will be a networking schedule. So it'll be an automatic networking schedule created for a business owner based on the times they're available and the days that they're available.
Fantastic. I tell
Wow.
you what.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
This is quite a bit, and I know that you bring so much value to the table. I actually literally just showcased this, so if anybody's listening to this on the podcast, come Sunday, you may want to double back over to YouTube over at youtube.bootstrapbusinessmen.com. Once again, that's youtube.bootstrapbusinessmen.com, and I've actually showcased that specific website at networking-360.com, correct?
Yes.
Wonderful.
That is correct.
Excellent. I can't be more ecstatic for you than ever. I definitely we need to meet up sometime soon. Kevin, do you got any last questions for Melina?
I don't know if it's a question necessarily, but you need to be able to duplicate you because so many areas need you. Honestly. I mean, have you thought about that? I mean, the duplication and, maybe training others, say in Ohio or, New York to do the same thing that you're doing in the Valley in Arizona?
Yeah, so my biggest goal is to be able to set up a 3-day conference to where people can fly in from out of state. And in that conference, it's going to be your small business boot camp. And it's really only catered to small business owners because that's what makes our economy run effectively. It's our small businesses. And without them, there would be a lot of jobs would be lost. So in the conference, every session is 30 minutes. So you're in there and you're learning one piece of the puzzle. And you're taking notes, you're learning how to apply it, and you're learning about something brand new. Then you switch to another boot camp, another boot camp, another boot camp. So it's literally back-to-back information, but you're learning so much, and you're learning all these different tools and these different pieces and what works and how to apply it. So that's something I would love to start building out for different states, different cities. Only the best brand yourself and to start ideas because Arizona is just such a great place for networking, great place for a business to start and to flourish.
Absolutely.
Wow.
This is amazing. Kevin, you stop. We got to wrap it up. This is really, really awesome. Melina.
Thank you guys so much.
Oh,
I
trust
really
me, I've got a ton
appreciate
more
it.
questions, but we don't have the time for it. So.
Certainly, we do want to have you back, Melina. I think that you've brought so much information, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more questions. There actually ended up being a couple of live viewers that popped in, so I do appreciate everybody tuning in. But I do want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Melina Shah. You have been wonderful. Remember, folks, catch her at networking-360.com and really start to follow this lady. I'm telling you what, the next 5 years, another 5 years from now, this is going to be a different story here. So you better catch on right now while you got the chance.
Well, thank you so much, Dale, and thank you, Kevin.
Absolutely. No, thank you for sharing your time with us tonight. Thank you.
Very good.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to close out the show. I want to thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. And, of course, if you got any kind of questions, concerns, comments, send them on over to bootstrapbusinessmen@gmail.com. Once again, that's bootstrapbusinessmen@gmail.com. Tune in next week. We're going to be having an awesome guest with Morris R. Cravens II, a narrator for Audiobook Creation Exchange. Thank you again to Melina.
Please support the show by simply shopping at Amazon through the link in the show description. Every time you make a purchase through the provided link, a small percentage of sales goes back to support the show. There's no additional cost to you, and it greatly helps us out. Simply go to the link, bookmark it in your browser, and do your shopping on Amazon while you support the Bootstrap Businessmen podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Bootstrap Businessmen.